Hi, Rigsters here, back with another DCS video. Yep, I got it 2 weeks ago. The DCS F-4E Phantom by Heat Blur. So for this one, it's just going to be a brief demonstration of the GBU-8 Hobos TV guided bomb and the SUU-23 gun pod with a centerline field tank, static targets, Nellis Air Base, Nevada. God, I sound like Spudnug when I say that crap. So anyways, after getting that boring crap out of the way, let's get started. So I'm just gonna... This is more of just like, oh cool, shiny object, look at this plane, much wow, very plain, you know, kind of video.
Alright, let's kick some ass.
That's gonna get me demonetized. But yes, I agree. That's actually the first time I heard that voice line for Jester. There's a whole bunch of voice lines for Jester. So, I don't think I'll ever be able to monetize this video now that he said that. Oh well, whatever. Anyways, so
Hey,
what I'm gonna do...
we planning to hit the deck on this one?
You can tell Jester if we're going to hit the deck, which we are. Just let me make sure, tax into here, and hit the ABS wheel brakes. Wow, did you hear that brake squeak? I barely heard it. No, it's actually a nice little touch. I just was being a little sarcastic. I'm gonna say yep.
Alright, lay it on me. Alright.
And bow 100. Thank you. Alright, so what I'm gonna do with the A keys, go to navigation. It would help if I actually know how to click on something. Go to resume.
Okay.
Have that pre-planned.
Alright, buddy. Steering set for the new
Perfect.
coordinates.
And then set that to HDG. So, one of the things you want to make sure of with the Hobos bomb, this is not really a quote-unquote tutorial, this is more just what I've been trying to do. But I will say what I'm doing out loud just within reason. Set the mils to 17, because that's what the Hobos likes. Arm the stations, make sure those tails set. The weapon selector, release profile right here, this little gauge. Set that to direct. If I can actually click on it. And make sure the master arm's on. Selector's in TV mode. This is in TV mode. I have to right control enter to show what I'm doing with the inputs. And what else do we got here? Got all that here. Okay, we got that. That's good, that's good. That's all good, that's all right. Okay, and last thing to check, of course, is to make sure slice the flags down. This trim button that I'm trimming right here, this little gauge, I didn't know this until I asked the DCS committee, but these actually are in terms of 1 degree. So this is neutral right here where it says stab trim. This is 1 degree, 2 degree, 3 degree, so on and so forth. You want it at 3 degrees to goes down. You can do 2, but I find it flops like a beach whale, so it's easier just to do it by 3 degrees, so that makes your life easier. So, let's get started and just blast this plane into space.
Engine's good, airspeed off the peg.
Okay, it's a little bit better.
80 knots.
Okay, now start pulling back.
100 knots.
Okay, then gently pull back just a bit more. That little Price is Right wheel is the
Gears moving.
AOA install indicator. It's very useful. And
Gear up.
get the gear, slats and flaps up. Let's get some speed and altitude. This plane's happier when you're flying Mach 4, 5 or higher on the speed gauge, which is right around here. That's your speed gauge. We could ease off a bit there. Gonna set the non-fig to air to ground. Good. There is one thing I briefly want to show, control-wise, that I would highly recommend, is for the TV system. Having the screen contrast on a scroll knob, if you have one, or at least an access blind that allows you to scroll for contrast, and brightness. is very helpful because the default contrast and brightness is not very helpful, and that's just the thing in DCS you have to find. So I'll continue on from there. I find that very useful because I can demonstrate real quick here. Just making it a little dimmer. Decrease the contrast just a little bit. Let's make it a little dimmer. Now a little brighter. And there we go. And just make sure we're headed to the static target range. Press an F2 view just to make sure. There they are. Targets are right over there. Just want to offset just a little bit so I can actually see them. Yep, right over there. Just want to make sure I get enough height. And also just to trim up just a little bit. There we go. So the one thing with the Hobos or any of the TV guided bombs is they do not have a dynamic weapons indicator. Like, yes, they'll tell you when they're locked onto a target, but you have to be the judge of how fast and how steep of a dive you want to do. Now, obviously, of course, they only can reach so far. Approximately, what I've heard is about 5 to 8-ish miles, depending on the height and dive angle, but I haven't done extensive testing yet to see the absolute limit of actually hitting something. The walleyes, supposedly the Mark IIs, have a little more range than the Hobos. I do not know the exact value for that, but it is a noticeable amount. They are very big, heavy bombs, so when you drop one of them, you have to adjust your trim, because this is not a fly-by-wire jet, so you have to do trim, so old stick and rudder. With that being said though, the module itself, I really enjoy. It's like a lot of people say, because actually they did a really good job with the vast majority of the module. There's very few tiny, like, day one bugs that needs to be fixed, but 90% of the module is like, yeah, you can fly it around. Just have to wait for optimization patches if you're on lower end hardware, or if you do heavy scripted multiplayer. Particularly with the radar is the major bug that can make or break people's experience. That would be for another video though. My hardware that I'm using, I didn't have that issue because I play on flat screen, but if you play in VR, that's more critical to know. As I'm going around here, I'm just going to visually look at it with my head tracker here. Increase the power just a little more, because I am flying quite slow. Let's see how slow we're flying. Yeah, we're at minimal speed before the thing just shakes itself apart. And we're going to use the TV screen. We're going to put the throttles back to idle. Use the top pipper here along with the screen. And do a little bit of a steep dive here, but that's okay. So this is just to show how how it works a little bit. So I want to just aim just a little more to the left here. A little down. Hold the gun trigger. There we go. We got a contrast lock. And we're going to increase the speed just a little bit. There we go. And we hold down the bomb while holding down the trigger. There we go. It released. Now we can pull away. And we'll put this in autopilot quick. And press F6. Huh. Oh no, it was too slow on the F6 view. Greater incompetence has struck me. I was too slow on the draw for the F6 view. Bummer. Actually, I think I can view the replay. What if I go try the replay function once I get the next one dropped? So we'll go back around and see that, and then I'll demonstrate the guns. Okay, now we're back again with another Hobos pass. So this time you have to do quite a lot of trimming, because now the plane's unstable because it's a 2,000-pound TV guided bomb. So we'll get that to here, and we'll try again. We just gotta get the trim just a little bit more so I don't have to fight it so much. I'll do a little more pitch down a little bit. There we go. Now I got it locked. Okay, we got good contrast with the little black square here. And we're gonna release while holding the triggered bomb release. Perfect. Now we can just pull away here. Engage that. There it is. Oh, good. It was quicker on the draw this time. So this is what it looks like. Boom. There we go. And that is what they say in lingo, a good check. I don't know why fighter pilots never liked Radio Shack, but I guess that's just something they say in varieties. It's always fascinating to learn various varieties and lingos in life, it really is. So now that we got that done, now we can demonstrate the guns. So, a little quick tip on the guns here. I did not know the recommended mills. Supposedly they don't really need any mills because they're bore-sided. You can correct me in the comments below if that actually is correct or not. You still make sure the thing is indirect. You switch the weapon thing to rockets and disp. Don't know what disp means, but that's just the default mode for guns and rockets. The rate of fire by default is set to high, but you want to set to low for air to ground to conserve ammo. And if you want to check your main gun's ammo, not the pod's ammo, this little counter right here shows you how many rounds are remaining. We'll take ourselves off autopilot. So the autopilot's pretty rudimentary, and the CTF fuel gauge is empty. Okay, we'll demonstrate that real quick here as well. So let me briefly put it back on autopilot because creator incompetence. And then let's make sure master arm is set. So it's a little hard to see here, but I'll just tell you what it is. This CTR thing has to be armed. Master arm armed. And to release the store, we flip this big knob right here all the way down to store. You can set this in controls if you want the hot skip around, but I just used the mouse. And then you just press push to jet. Now if I press F2, there you go. There goes the wing, the little fuel tank. Well, it's not really little, it's pretty massive. So we use that. And then just for safeguard, we switch it back to off. And we can disarm the CTR. There we go. Now we'll go back to the target zone. Sure, disengage the autopilot. And reset the master caution. And make sure you turn the transfer thing to off. Make sure when you have the center tank, you switch this to the middle position to off when it's used up. That way the plane knows, like, okay, we're not getting fuel from there anymore. It's a kind of like a crude system. It's not smart per se. It just tries to read like fuel pressure valve systems and all that. It's a really long-winded story of how the fuel tanks work. There's people that know this plane way more than me that would better explain the details of how that exactly works. Heck, I'm willing to bet that other people have already done that, because that's just how YouTube works. So let's see. Just looking for the ground targets again. Oh, they're to the right. Okay. The power of F10. Yes, I know some people have probably grimaced and whinged when they saw me use an F10 view, but hey, when in doubt, use F10. And plus, this is just a demonstration video. This is nowhere near like a milsim ops or like, oh my god, I spent 6 months for this and I know everything. No, it's not that kind of video. Right, actually look over here, right? Is that the targets down there? Yep, it is. Okay. Sometimes it's hard to tell in this game, like, where the targets are. That's why I have markers on, which I know a lot of people have missed and probably are going, oh god, why? But, oh well. That's what I use. So now this gun pipper right here. Some people recommend actually going to air mode, so it's easier to bore sight. So I'm going to actually flip it to there for this run. I mostly did an air to ground beforehand, but now you get to see the power of 3 barrels firing at the target there. So let's see, we're just getting a little closer. We're doing about a 25-degree dive, so let's fire them. Oh, it would help if I armed the other pods there. Alright, that was a false alarm. Fire again. There we go, that's more like it. And then if you want to see what it looks like outside the cockpit without actually hitting a target, we'll just zoom in here and fire. Well, that was weird. No sound effects outside the cockpit. I may have actually found another bug. Or it could be my sound settings too. So I would have to troubleshoot that, but rip. I guess you only can hear it inside the cockpit with the sound settings I set it to. Oh well. We'll go around one more pass and we'll go for a landing. Because, you know, just like every other DCS YouTuber, you gotta show the landing too. Oh yeah. Gotta show them landings, boy. Kind of a meme moment. Let's see. It is actually a really fun module, I would say, compared to the F-15E. In my humble opinion, I find this particular early access DLC to actually be 90% functional. The bits like I showed there with the gun pod sound effects not working, that could be on my end. And if it isn't, then so be it. It's kind of expect, you know, little stupid bugs like that every once in a while. Now let's try again. Let's do an air to ground mode this time. See if I actually can hit stuff with the pods. Yes, good hits. Yep, I'm out of ammo. So now we'll turn off all of those. Disarm that. Okay. So I'll show the replay of the gun pods then, because I think that's pretty cool. I do love using them. There is one last thing I should mention with the gun pods, at least with the ones I'm using in particular. Supposedly, you need to be at least 300 knots or faster because it uses ram air. I mean, I could even double check that right now while I'm flying back to base here with the handy autopilot. We'll just check that up right there and with that the gauge. So when you press the M key, you can actually see the manual here, and it's actually, a lot of this is useful per se. Sometimes it's a little wordy with certain things and why people were having issues, but considering like this function is like one of the reasons why I actually bought this module is for this very function, so I don't have to use open kneeboard mod. It's extremely useful. So let's go to air to ground. Let's go to guns real quick here. Actually, it's probably in guns. Yeah, here we go. So you can see here, you can play along with Spudknocker and read these line by line, word for word, for 50 minutes. I'm not going to actually do that. But here we go, deployment. Let's see here. This is like the pepper ranging, from air to ground views, for direct. Yep, did do that. Clear. Ah, here we go. Gun pods. Let's see here. Yeah, these two pods right here, the ones on the outside. Only the center station and the outer wing can fire. So you can actually put one in the center. The Su-23 pods are method of power. Oh, okay. So it turns out that Su-23A can be fired at any airspeed. It's the 16A, so you have to worry about the ram air. I apologize. I honestly legitimately thought those pods had the restriction. Turns out it's the 16 version. Okay, well, that's good to know. You see, the more you know. So let's have Jester not cringe to death and have this navigate back to the airfield. So press A here, navigation. You can hit vert to, in this case airfield. Let's hit Nellis.
Okay.
There we go.
Steering set for diversion.
Alright, so now we can disengage the autopilot. And we turn off the master caution. Oh, if you're wondering where the master caution is, well, let me hold the point in that altitude hold so I don't crash into the ground. The master caution button is right here. That resets it. So if you want to ignore master caution, this is your best friend. I've used it quite a lot because I don't need the master caution to go off of saying, hey, you turn off the autopilot. It's like, yes, I indeed turned off the autopilot. So now I'll turn it back off again. I'm going to eventually bind a button for that so I don't have to constantly click on it because it's in a very inconvenient spot. At least for DCS gameplay, it's a realism thing. It's a game, not a sim. Or it's a sim, not a game. So we'll just double check here. Yep, doing good there in F10. So the INS system of this plane is, oh jeez, we had some clouds here. I forgot to turn off clouds. Oh no. So the INS in the F4 is going to be off by a couple miles, even with stored heading or the perfect fine, not the course settings. So it's not like GPS with the F16, the F18, the F-15E. They're like super precise, like less than half mile or even that off. These can go up to like 5 miles off, depending on the alignment and various parameters. On a good day though, usually it's going to be under 5 miles off, which is good. It's good enough for navigation and basic dumb bomb stuff. So there's the airfield. Let's see here, we're going to go to the left a bit because I'm going to somewhat procedurally do it. I'm not going to cringe you to death like the memes do where they're like, alright, we're going to go reference section 360 paragraph 420. Nope, we're just going to do it the way most players do it, which is, oh, that looks nice. I mean, there's a fine art of doing it too. I do appreciate people that can actually do line by line, paragraph by paragraph, textbook perfect landings. And, you know, it does take practice and skill. It is pretty cool. But for people like me, if I get it on the ground safely without blowing it up, that's good enough. And, you know, it's a simulator, not a game. I always keep loving referencing that Flog It community post when people make jokes about it. So we're gonna go on final here. Gonna put the throttles to idle. Gonna point the plane in. Oh god, this is gonna probably be a disaster because I'm already too fast. Gonna put the flaps and slats down. Gear down. Put the seat up with the seat height adjuster a bit. Hopefully I can trim this aircraft out a little bit. Ooh, this is going to be bad. Okay. Hopefully this will go good. Looking at the AOA indicator on the left here. Still a little too fast. Just do a little herky-jerky maneuver. Oh god. This is still a little fast.
Flaps, pressure,
there we go.
warning lights, anti-skid.
Pop the parachute.
Well, thanks,
hit
buddy.
The brakes.
At least I can get retired on disability now.
Well, that's a new line I haven't heard before. That was definitely Jester not approving of our landing. But I haven't landed with the gun pods equipped before, so that's the parachute back there. It's really cool. If you actually increase the throttle, you can actually get the parachute to actually blow up. Like if I go a little faster here, you can have it take flight. It's actually pretty funny. And you could cut off the parachute, of course, which I'm going to do. There we go. Alright, so let's take a look at that replay. It's the last thing to do here. Hi, Rigsters here. Now with the replay mode enabled, we're going to speed up the footage here of the replay I just did. And do like my first ever annotation of a replay file in DCS, using just DCS itself. So I'm going to try to do that. For some weird reason, it bugged the whatchamacallit, the camera. I have no idea of why the jester wheel is still showing. So I'm just trying to speed it up here. Just trying to get it to fast forward just a little bit here. That's definitely interesting. Alright, here we go. So let's take a look and see if here from the Hobos bomb, the first one dropped. With the annoying jester wheel in the way. That's definitely a bug. I've never seen this happen before. So let's just see what happens, you know. Ah, there we go. So now we get to see where the bomb actually hit. Oh, that one actually missed. Oh yeah, that would make sense. So we'll go back around again, speed it up a bit. That's just me flying around again. Okay. And let's see. So down here, see to speed up just a little bit. Okay, there we go. Now let's see the second one. This one actually should have hit, because the first one was kind of like overestimated my height and all that. See if the second one actually did hit. It claimed it did. Ah, yeah. There we go. So that's impact there. I'm going to speed up the plane just a little bit more. Using the fuel tank. And let's see. Let's just go back around again. There we go. Now we got that there. It is kind of funny watching your own replays. I don't know how people do this on a frequent basis for DCS content creation, but it is kind of funny to watch. Oh, there we go. This should be the gun pass right here. It should have a perspective mat here. Oops. And then speed it up again. It's a little juddery when you do 10. I thought it was going to brick the recording, to be honest. So let's see here. Oh, yeah, let's get it so you can actually show the guns firing with the jester wheel in the way. Ah, there we go. That actually wasn't too bad. Okay, we'll stop the replay. So that's just basically like the replay function. I've never done that before, and I'll wrap that up there. Alright, so it turns out the replay butchered my recording for trying to wrap up the video. So in conclusion of the video, the module still has, obviously as you can see, a couple of bugs, but overall the F4 experience I've had since like for the first release of a DLC of a game that's very complex in many ways, I say they did a pretty good job with it. It is definitely worth considering if you're into the older Cold War period of aviation. I think they did a fantastic job with most of the weapon systems, and hopefully once they get the hot patches for the radar bug that's been tanking people's VR frame rates in multiplayer when doing multi-crew, especially, particularly with the radars being switched on when there's a bunch of phantoms flying around the server. It'll eventually get ironed out. They are aware of it, so I have confidence that, at least for this particular module, it's going to definitely keep up the good momentum they've built. And if you want to see more videos of this nature, of course, you know all the typical YouTube spiel people say, so I'm not going to say it. It's just the way it goes. And this is Rigsters Journey, signing off.